The U.S. Supreme Court refusing to hear an appeal of New York's even-year election law. An Onondaga County State Supreme Court judge was first ruling the law unconstitutional, 2024, only to have a mid-level appeals court overturn it and the state's highest court uphold that decision. So starting this year, with the Supreme Court refusing not to hear an appeal, county and town lawmakers are back up for election after serving just 1 year. The goal, increase voter turnout. The law won't impact village elections, which are still split. There's some in March, few in June, rest in November. The most recent ones last Tuesday, Manlius and Manoa, for instance, bringing out a total between the two of 148 voters. Onondaga County Board of Elections Commissioner Dustin Czarny joining us now. Dustin, always good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
This has been an issue you have been on for a number of years, pushing to have all the villages just move to November, let the Board of Elections run all of them. You have some, the villages do some. It's kind of split all over there. Manlius and Manoa, as we said, 148. I know these were a couple of uncontested board seats. What would you say a full March village election looks like? Is it still pretty low?
Yeah, it's a little low for March, although I think part of that is the lack of competition. And that's probably one of the biggest issues with March elections. People don't know when they have to file petitions to run for office. They happen in December and January while people are just recovering from the last election and they're not thinking about the next one. And so in March, we tend to see more uncontested races. But when villages move their elections to November, not only do we see more contested races, we see elections that have 30, 40, 50% turnout. The Manlius Village election had Manlius had 1.98% turnout, and the Manoa election had 3.24% turnout. That's pretty low, even for a March village election.
Yeah, so civic reasons for sure. You have to run, or villages choose to have you, the Board of Elections, run some of them. Some of the villages do it on their own. Let's talk money here. How much money could everybody save simply by moving these village elections to November?
So, well, it would be 100% of their costs because we're already holding an election in November. And different villages have different costs based on their size. I've seen some villages estimate that they only spend $500 to $1,000. Some of them will spend $2,000 on an election, but that's $2,000 that they don't need to spend. If they just allowed the Board of Elections to run them in November, not only would they save 100% of their costs, but we'd see higher turnout and higher competition, and that's better for government overall.
Yeah, I know you can only speak, obviously, to Onondaga County specifically because different counties, they run them differently as far as villages go. But in Onondaga County, who are some of the more recent villages that have moved from March or even June to November, and how have those gone?
The last three villages that moved were Fayetteville, Liverpool, and Baldwinsville. All three of them moved, well, two of them moved from March, one of them moved from June. Two of them moved by voter referendums where voters initiated a petition and the town board had to put it on the ballot. And one of them, the town board itself put it on the ballot. That was Liverpool. And in every case, the voters approved that by 70%. The village voters that voted in March or June decided they wanted to hold those elections in November and move those elections. None of them have moved back. In fact, we have 8 out of the 15 villages in the Onondaga County that have all moved. They've all saved 100% of their costs, and we've had no issues with that, and no apparent movement to try to move them back. Yeah. They're very satisfied with the elections in November, and more importantly, the voters are satisfied as well.
And that's the mechanism. However it gets there, the voters would have the ultimate say at the polls. They'd actually have to go to the polls to vote to move their elections.
That's right. You can't. The board can't move it on their own. They can't move it back on their own. It has to be a vote of the village electors at the next village election.
Maybe last one for you. I mean, feedback you've gotten from some of those villages that you had just mentioned, or even just more recent than that, how they've done. They've been happy with this. Like you said, they haven't voted to move back. There hasn't been a groundswell to move them back. So obviously hard to say because there's already elections, but I'm guessing the turnout is way up.
Oh, the turnout is through the roof. We've seen anywhere from 60% turnout improvement to 900% turnout improvement. We saw that with Tully when they moved from March to November. All of a sudden, more people are voting. Sometimes we still see uncontested races, but we see that in November, across the board. But we see more contested races. And, look, when things change, I'm not saying Syracuse doesn't like change, but sometimes we get a little stuck in our ruts. And everybody has some gripe about changes when they happen. But for the most part, we've seen engaged voter turnout, engaged candidates, and 100% savings on their tax bills on this. So I think it's a good thing for democracy.
Dustin, always great catching up with you. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Download the WSYR Plus app on your TV to stream News Channel 9 for free. Just go to your smart TV, search WSYR Plus in the App Store, and download to start streaming today.